Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We are so excited to be here with you today talking about Canva code. It is going to be a great session with lots of fun learning that I can guarantee I'm going to learn right alongside of all of you. So before we jump into this, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name's Katie. And I am in Big Fork, Montana, in the United States, and I am a fellow educator like all of you. And I am excited to learn more about this tool. I was just telling Darren before we got started that I want to learn more so I can start using it and applying it more, working with students in the classroom. And our amazing presenter is Darren.
Hi, and I'm a technology integration facilitator, which shortens to TIFF, which isn't great, but they never think of these acronyms, so many acronyms. But I get to work with teachers and students in my district. It's about 13,000 students, so big for Alberta, but not super big for, different places. And I'm excited about just all the things. There's so many awesome things. I'm loving. It's like the most exciting year ever in ed tech. I think it just gets more and more exciting. And I've been doing this for 13 years. So we'd like to thank Logix for hosting this and gathering together and being a place where awesome, like-minded people can hang out and chat and learn together. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's just so many great opportunities through Logix, whether it be professional development like this or student workshops, which we will be talking more about at the end of the session as well. Some more free learning opportunities.
My favorite are those workshops because it frees up the teacher, right? So
yes.
Students can watch the screen and you can circulate and help your students. And you don't feel alone when you're doing something that's techie, because I know how that feels if something's not going right. It happened just yesterday where headphones weren't working in a grade 2 class and the teacher's like, I don't know how to troubleshoot. And luckily I was there, but yeah. And Logix does have some really cool products. I love these Vinci bots. I threw them on there, and the tail bots. A lot of our younger students are using those, and even grade 5, 6 are using the Vinci bots. And there's Dash, and there's the microscopes and 3D printers, which we have some real 3D printing nerds in our team, so that's great.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wanted to give a big thank you to Microsoft for their generous support of this workshop as their commitment to fostering a broader understanding of AI. And as you join us for the session, at the very end of the session, we'll give you the link again to go get yourself a PD certificate in AI skilling. So that way you can have that for joining our session together today.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, we have some goals. One is just to learn about Canva code. And maybe you think you know it, or you know about the AI in Canva, but there's new stuff that just came out just this past week that they made announcements for, and they just started learning and working. So we're going to learn about Canva code, the cool things you can do, some of the interactives that you can work on, and then we're going to code some sample games, right? So that's going to be really fun. And one activity that I made with students is creating a bias checker. And that was really, really fun because we made a bias checker and we talked about what is bias and we put in news articles and things like that. So you can do some awesome AI activities with that. So, and remember, if you're watching this later on, you can put me down to 0.75 because I know I talk how I talk. So what is Canva code? Canva code is, you might not even know where it is. It's kind of just on the main page of Canva, and it allows you to create designs, interactives, all kinds of cool things just with, people call it vibe coding. I promise I won't call it that, but it is kind of like that. You just describe what you want and it will start generating things. And then you argue with it, basically is how it works with every AI. You say, I want this, and it does something. And you're like, well, no. And then it says, no. And you argue with the AI until you get something that you like. And once you have samples, that's what I really found, Katie, is once you have an example of what you like, then it gets simpler to use those to make things better and better, right? So let's get there. I'm going to get out of present mode just so we can actually do live demo of this. And it is as simple as using the Google machine. Let's go to Canva. Boop. All right. And mine's already on Canva. Yours might say your designs, where you can find all the stuff you've been creating, all the good stuff, and hopefully you don't get lost with different teams like I do in my my EDU account. But you want to hit Canva code. And then there's a whole bunch of different things you have here: video clips, code, doc, image, design, and create student activities. These are all worth a delve into. So each of these is probably an hour of just getting in and kind of exploring what they do and how they work. One of the newest ones is design. I'm not going to talk about it a lot because I think you can figure it out. But I had a teacher yesterday who said, Darren, I need a template for the Christmas play we're putting on. And I just went to design. And actually, she described, Katie, in my chat, it has to have this and this and this. And I just took her chat, put it as a prompt in Canva for the Christmas play. And it came up with some designs. And then I showed her some and she's like, well, I need it to include Mrs. Claus and I need it to have the performance things. And basically she was using me to talk to the AI and they said, here, I'll show you how to do it yourself. But what's different about this and what's different from, ChatGPT or from Gemini is that after you create one of these designs, these are editable designs. The words are editable. Awesome. And now you have all of these movable texts all placed where you want them with cool fonts. Some fonts are cooler than others. So maybe I like this one. It's got some really nice font with some, highlighting and all this sort of stuff. So all of this is the name of the play she told me. And this is, the times and all that other sort of stuff. And this is all editable. And the AI picture is just the background, which you could delete and just keep the text, or you could do other things with that. So that's probably
awesome.
Yeah. That's probably one of the AI things in Canva maybe you're not using. Maybe you are familiar with when you go to Elements and you create a brand new image and pop that into your designs. But this one's just on the main page of Canva. And you go to Canva AI and you can design, it could be a life cycle poster or something that you want students to do interactives. You can really describe the learning that you want students to do. So
that's awesome. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, Darren.
Yeah, that would be a pause. You can always pause us watching later on.
Yes,
and just
absolutely
go and just play a little with design.
Yes.
My main focus, though, is going to be coding cool interactives. This is my passion for the last little while. So there's just an example of the designs we've been making. Yeah. Excellent. So that's design that's there. Just as an aside, something you might not have seen because it is so brand new. And I think when that teacher asked me, this was the first time I did that. I saw that it came out and then just creating that for a teacher was the first time I used it. Yeah.
Super awesome. I know. I'm going to go try that. I love that. My favorite part, though, is that it puts it into an editable design for you. I think that is where the magic really happens with that, because so often if you generate something using an AI tool, it is what it is, unless you, again, like you said, argue with it and get it to produce what you want it to.
Yeah, I do it a lot with ChatGPT, and then you have to go in, you have to scribble in part like this is wrong, and then it makes it, and it doesn't do it properly. It's quite time consuming and painful to make. Like I was making anchor charts, for example, and I think now that this is out, I think I can make anchor charts for like grade 1 science much more easily. And if I don't have the AI image, I can just keep all the text and grab things from the real world and put it as my background. So it's like really versatile.
Absolutely. I love that.
The other one that's really powerful, and I think it's really powerful because I know there's a plethora of tools. It's like, should I be using this tool, this tool, this tool, this tool? And there's 5,000 tools. It seems like there's just so many things you can do. And what's nice about Canva Code is that it keeps it all in the same place. And there's some other advantages of using Canva Code versus some other ones too. So when you hit code, there are some great templates right in here. And there's a whole bunch that I would just recommend going in, seeing what some of these different templates do and what they look like, just trying some out. So should we start at maybe one of the first ones? Katie, which one do you think we should try? I don't want a pricing calculator. Historical timeline might be you. Yeah, sure. I'll do it.
Yeah, let's do that one. I like a timeline.
Boom. Oh, and so it pops the prompt in here. And what I like to do is maybe just edit this prompt. We'll just see what this does. I'll just go. Problem loading this page. Uh-oh.
It's having a moment.
Oh, and it worked.
Oh, thank goodness.
And one thing I found, and I'm sure you found this too, is that when I started doing coding in Canva Code, it used to take quite a while. And I wouldn't have done a live demo of it, but it's actually going to create it quite fast. And it's going to be quite a bit of code. So let's just see how well it does.
Yeah, I have noticed that myself, especially when it first started working. I think, that obviously they've been working on it and doing some improvements, which generally helps make things go a little bit more quickly. But I will say this in terms of, yes, it does take a little bit of time. I could never make anything this fast ever in my life, even if I was like the world's best coder. Like, let's be real.
I know. One thing I do like about watching it is you can kind of see what's happening, where things are, the symbols that it's using, the kind of logic that's going in there. This one's pretty big, actually. Maybe I shouldn't have done a live video. Just pause it. We'll play the Jeopardy theme while we're live coding all these things.
Well, it's not a bad thing to show students as well, so that they have start to maybe get a small understanding of what goes into it, right?
Yeah.
How much it actually takes.
Yeah, look at this. Learn more drop down things. There are
awesome.
Less.
Love that. So neat.
Very cool. It's color coded. It's kind of beautiful. And it gives you the idea. One thing that's amazing, show code. That means that you could take this code, you could copy this code, you could use this code wherever. Maybe you have a Google site and you just want to paste the HTML in. Maybe you're super nerdy and you want to save that to a GitHub repository, or you want to copy it and you want someone else to use it. Well, there's a bunch of ways to share it. Maybe I wouldn't share the code, but that's fantastic. One thing that none of the other tools have, this is the button that I think is the most incredible, is right here. Use in a design. So when I click this, I'm going to say, I'm going to use it in a presentation. And it gives me my beautiful timeline on a new Canva slide. And you know what? I don't want to go to another slide. I'm going to go over to my presentation slide. And I'm going to just Control V, paste. And now that beautiful timeline that I just coded and created, when I present, is a live interactive timeline.
So quick and easy.
Yeah. And it goes, it's in my presentation. I can go to my next slide. I can come back. I can interact. It is.
So you could do this live with your students and like literally right in front of them, show not only how it builds the code, but then how you can easily integrate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that feature.
Is just incredible. That timeline is live in my slides now. It's interactive.
Yeah.
And if I share that link, so let's go back and let's see another one. We'll do a lot of live demo. Why not?
My favorite.
Okay, let's see. There's one under code right here, a biology quiz. Like, okay, sure. Let's grab a biology quiz. And as a person who's starting to use these things, I'm use emojis as visual elements. Okay, that's interesting. It's going to grab some really cool emojis. Nice. And one thing that I learned was the AI can pull emojis from wherever. It can pull it from, openmoji.com, or every computer has Unicode. So that's like the emojis that you use, and it can just create these emojis from there. And if you use Unicode, it can pull it from any device. It'll just look different on a Google machine versus a Windows machine versus a Mac. It'll actually show those system emojis as the emojis. All right, maybe I should have pressed this before I started talking. Right?
It's all right. We're going to watch it get going again. There it goes. It's creating. We're going to see what adventure it makes for us this time.
And I do like kind of looking at this. Okay, there's the fonts and there's the color. Oh, that's the header.
Interesting. Yeah. When you really kind of stop to look at the different pieces that are coming up.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's great about this is you do this in front of your students and you can ask them, like, what are you noticing? What are you seeing? Lots of great options.
Right on. This is the only time we'll have moments of silence in my sessions, is like when code is happening and we're just watching. It's one of the most time-consuming things for, I think, engineers too, when they're coding with AI. That's the biggest time suck, is watching it do. This is cool too. So it's like looking, what's the powerhouse of the cell? There's everyone's favorite question. There's and there's DNA, frogs. It's got some great little emojis.
Yes.
A microscope.
Always love a good visual.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So neat.
And for school districts, you can actually turn this on. And so kids 13 plus right now, I believe it's still 13 plus, can use this. So if you have like a grade 7 science class, you can have students create their own biology challenges.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to use in a design. I'm going to make it into a website. Fantastic. Great. That's working super well. Boom. Now, so I did a little biology quiz. There's a whole lot of other ones that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm super nerdy. Maybe you're somewhat nerdy too. I don't know what you do in your free time, but I mean, I listen to tons and tons of podcasts. And the one that I really like is one by the Learning Scientists.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about all kinds of learning ways people learn. It's not learning styles, because we know that's not really a thing, but they talk about things like the 6 most researched effective ways to learn. And one that they talk about is retrieval practice. And that can be as simple as daily quizzes and fun interactive flashcards and things like that. Like that would be a way where you're testing yourself. And that's what students can be doing. They can be making their own flashcards and they can be testing themselves on their knowledge. And the other one is dual coding. That's when you put words and pictures together. So if you can make something that has a visual and the words and students are creating that, that is a great way to retain that knowledge, right?
Well, and I think the key with both of those, you said, is students creating, right? I think that is the key. And that's one of the things that I love about using Canva is getting students creating. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah. And so let's get into a little bit more creating while you're talking about it. And sorry, I'm not in present mode, but I kind of just like hopping around. So we made a biology quiz. We made that timeline. We copied and pasted and we put them in. But if I go in here and I look at this, that's great, biology, but I'm not really that interested in this. I'm not learning this right now. My class is talking about, I don't know, what's a cool, fun topic that we could do? How old is your little one?
My little one, she's 1 year old.
1 year old. So she doesn't have all these interests in, like, say, not like she will in a little while.
Yeah, we're into like Mickey Mouse right now.
The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? Can you please turn this into a quiz on ancient Egypt instead? Like you did in the first one.
I like this because this could mean that teachers are collaborating together and they're like, well, you teach science, but I'm history, but we can still share our resources and then create from there.
Yeah. So it's taking what I used as the bones and in the conversation just right there, I'm going to change it to an ancient Egypt one. Maybe it could be dinosaurs. Maybe it could be whatever other thing that you're wanting to create.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really, really helpful. And again, such a time saver. Because as teachers, we always like to share anyways. And we like to, help each other out. So then if we can then use AI to help us take something, but then customize it to our needs, I think that's phenomenal.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at ways you can share this. So some of the ways you could share this with friends and or enemies is you can embed this. You can have it in a presentation just like we did. You can make your own public view link. You can make a template link and then anyone can open that up and like use that.
That's probably one of my favorite ones when I'm sharing with colleagues, by the way, because they're then making their own copy of yours and not changing yours. Hint, hint.
Absolutely. And there's nothing worse than, them opening up your design and then things are disappearing. Things are not acting as they should.
Exactly.
So your template link.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it's doing. Oh, still working away. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to learn about some ancient Egypt here.
That's great. And also I'm poking around. Okay. Boom. Look at this. It's changed the emojis.
Yeah.
It's changed all these other cool things.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Oh, I like the emoji with that one too.
Yeah, it's kind of which animal was good. Like it's kind of a good hint. Did that come after? Let's see. Which pharaoh built the Great Pyramid? Was it Ramses? No, it was Khufu. And then
Interesting.
another great way to publish this is it can go right to a URL. So this could be a publish link that you then share with your students, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Publishing a website. Boom.
There you go. And then they can get to work.
Oh,
Perfect.
amazing.
And I love that you could create that. I mean, maybe you're preparing something for later in the day. Like you could, prepare this in the morning and then have that link ready to go when you need it.
Absolutely. And so I put this into a design. And one other thing that you may notice is when I click on this, you may see a new button that says data.
Mm.
So here's another thing that's even another level up from any of the other tools. This means that this as a live interactive, I don't have permission to open that sheet. You know what? I know why it's doing that. It's in my other account, of course. But when you open this data, you as a teacher will get a sheet within Canva that has your student scores and all their results.
That's so nice because then it just makes the whole piece of information that you actually need to collect from it made for you already.
Yeah. So not that many steps, but still kind of a lot if we just want to sit back and process for a second. So we can make a quiz, we can share it with students, and we can select data, and that will give us student data, their answers, and how they do on that thing that we just made. So as far as a formative assessment, which we know is powerful, we can use a lot, it's right there. So you're not going to another tool, you're not going to somewhere else where you have to sign in or students have to sign in. It's here for you in Canva, which is pretty awesome. If you're already, here's the thing, a lot of teachers are presenting because Canva has amazing templates for like wetlands, dinosaurs, ecosystems, whatever that thing is. So all you need to do is go to your curriculum, put it into Canva, say I want a quiz for this, and just insert that into the Canva slides that you may already have.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. And I love that it collects the data for you and it's all in one place. So you know that this is a Canva quiz or whatever you generated. So you know that you can go in and get that data quickly and easily. And I think that's so powerful because how often do you do these and then you do something like maybe go to a meeting or a team meeting, something like that, where they're like, pull up your data and you're like, oh my gosh, where is it? And you spend the whole meeting trying to find it. While if you know how to quickly, easily find it inside of your Canva, because that's where it was, it's going to make your life so much easier.
Yeah, or instead of like a Mentimeter or something like that, we were just polling your audience about something. They could be in your slides talking to you. And there's so much more that you can do with the whiteboard spaces in Canva and things like that. Where
absolutely.
If teachers are already using Canva as just slides that they're presenting information, maybe now you can have an interactive quiz or just a fun matching game or whatever that thing is where students are doing it. And you can even have
you can just put it right in.
Yeah, a whiteboard where students are interacting and listing things and working together, possibly deleting each other's work. Nothing bad ever happens when students. And
but that's okay. That's all part of the learning process. Honestly, as a teacher in the classroom, those are some of my favorite times. And yes, we get frustrated, but those are also some of the most learning and growth times in the classroom because we can stop and we can learn from that. And then we can move forward. And I just love that inside of a Canva presentation, like you said, you can have so many different types of slides and build that interactivity and your students are going to love it. I know that every time I've been super nervous about doing something like that, it's always been my favorite lesson because it's so much learning for students and for myself. And we just kind of come together as our little classroom community and really engage and explore and have fun.
Yeah. My favorite example of that is our headphones weren't working on the certain model of computer we're using back in the ancient times. And one of the students figured out how it works in my class. And then a little while later, I was walking by the superintendent's office and he's like, I can't get my headphones to work. I'm like, oh, I used that student trick. And he was so impressed, but it was like a grade 5 student told me how to do it. I'm like, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We all learn together.
One thing I love too is you may ask for some changes and then it ruins your life and things are not how you want them. You don't like something it did. The great thing about you go through and here's your prompt and here is what it said back to you. And then here's version 1, here's version 2. So here's the biology quiz. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, here's version 2, the ancient Egypt quiz. And I don't know about your human students, but they don't love maybe doing quizzes and things like that. So maybe instead of a quiz, we could say, please turn this into an interactive textbook. Whoop. Do you love typing in front of people? It's my favorite thing ever.
Oh, it's the worst. I never can type in front of people.
Yeah.
Why? I never can spell correctly. None of that.
That's called unkeyboardinated. If you can't type in front of someone, that's I see a meme from the ancient times. Okay, cool. So this is nice. So you can do a formative assessment, but maybe the students don't even have that knowledge yet. I'm turning that same thing into an ancient Egypt textbook. And again, I could be copying and pasting the information I want into the chat, so it's very specific. I could be dropping things like links. I could be dropping more data than what it's pulling from the interwebs. Because I don't know. Guys, no, we're going to do another quiz. But one thing the learning scientists do say that when they were researching multiple choice versus short answer versus long answer, there actually wasn't much of a difference between student results long term with those different styles. It was just a matter of, did they do a lot of practice quizzes, a lot of formative assessments?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So the more of these you do, the more formative assessments you do, the better it is. But if students aren't thrilled by this and you just want them to engage with the content, I'm just loving this. These sections, it talks about Egyptian society being hierarchical. Yeah. This is incredible.
And I just love that you change it up. For me as an educator, I just don't like doing the same thing over and over. And I like that you could take this and change things up, because when I learn things, I tune out if it's the same thing over and over and over and over. So I can only imagine how my students are. So I love that you're mentioning taking something that even maybe worked really well and your students liked, but let's change it up, because that is definitely more engaging and more fun, because doing the same thing over and over is, in my opinion, not great.
All right. So now, whoopsies, I got out of it. But again, all of my most recent chats are here. Here's my biology quiz chat. Here's version 3. That was the textbook. Ancient Egypt. Land of pharaohs. Cool.
Ooh, and even that build in to check your understanding. I love that.
Right?
So nice.
Not only, so there's a little quiz there, but how good is this?
Because maybe you did do that quiz before and everyone didn't do so great, so you turn it into something like this for a nice reteaching moment.
Yeah. And did it take an hour, or did I have to go through and create a form where I'm sending them the link in Classroom and all these other things? No, it's right here. They can use this. And students can do this themselves, because if they are motivated enough to self-test, they could do fantastic on whatever that content is. They could make this from their notes. Make me a little interactive textbook from my notes. Paste them in there.
Right. And I think that's such a powerful part of using an AI tool like Canva Code, is teaching your students how to harness this to kind of help their own learning, right? And help their own growth, and giving them ideas like this to take things that they've created and then learn from it. Because so often students are like, oh, we have an assessment coming up. How do I prepare? What do I do? Help me. And giving them resources like this of how to do it is phenomenal.
And we could go on and on. Maybe this should be a matching game. And then maybe we have all these things. Maybe we begin our class with a quick check-in, like, what do you already know about ancient Egypt? What are you wanting to know? A little KWL, do a formative assessment, do the chapter. Maybe you want a matching game. We have new curriculum in Alberta, and the vocabulary is vast for what they need to know now for social studies and science. I put ancient Egypt, that would have been maybe a grade 5-6 topic. And now they're talking about things like this at very early ages, different ancient civilizations. So,
oh, wow.
I could also say, please turn this into very low levels so that it's not talking about details of like which pharaoh, maybe it's just talking about the way they lived in the desert and where they are. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty amazing. The whole concept of coding with all of these tools is, and yes, I did use ChatGPT to make this cool little prompt, this little infographic, because it didn't exist. And Katie, isn't that amazing? Like, you've been presenting probably as long as me, and back in you try to find some sort of interactive like this that would work, some sort of infographic, I should say, and it didn't exist. And now I just verbally said, well, this is how it actually works. And search is very similar to the new coding idea. So with search, back when we were teaching how Google worked, it'd be like you search for something and then you get some results back and then you read that and then you know more and then you ask for a new search, and it's this cyclical thing. And that's what I just want to emphasize with any of the tools that you're using. You have an idea, you prompt it, test it out. Maybe you don't like it or it inspires something else. You get more ideas and you continue that prompting cycle until you get what you like, and then you can make iterations of that, which is really fantastic.
Well, and that's my favorite too, especially if you're saving some of those prompts, because the reason I always recommend saving prompts is because you never know when you're going to want to create something similar or a form of that. So that's also really helpful. And I love that Canva does that for you. As you've seen, Darren's closed it and then seen like, oh, I can go back to this one and get it when I need to. And I love that Canva has that like built in, because you never know when you're like, oh, we did something a month ago, and now I want to take that and change it to this topic, but do what we did and have all of those amazing options and then move forward from there.
Yeah. And guess what? One of the other 6 powerful learning ideas is, another one is spaced practice, where you come back to things over time and you come back to that idea in more of a spiral rather than blocked practice. So if you can do that, it's fantastic too.
Yeah.
And then we have to be honest, if anyone's saying, yeah, it's going to be great and you're going to get the perfect thing and it's all going to be factual and yeah, we don't need teachers, I guess, anymore. No, you do, because an expert in that field will go, no. And even with the ancient Egypt, I'm not an expert, so maybe there are incorrect things. But I did the same thing. I made a guitar book and it says, great, here's a D major chord. What it says about it is right, but this graphic is not right. That is not a D major chord. For people, any guitar players out there might know what that is. Katie, how's your guitar chop?
Nope.
So anyway, that's a minor chord, very different. And it's so the little tab that it made there, not correct whatsoever. But that's where we need the teacher to correct it and go to primary sources. And you can say what you want about textbooks, but the nice thing about textbooks is often we don't have textbooks anymore, but they had primary sources in there, interviews with elders. They had sources from the archives. They had things like that that were really good. You could like look at them and have that as a source, and we don't have that anymore. So we have to make sure that we're checking what's going on, because there's a good example. The book was amazing, and it did get to the end result that I wanted eventually, but it wasn't immediate.
Well, and I think that you really said it well there, because this is a session for a few moments. This is our PD session for teachers. And it's important that we're all reminded that we need to stop and we need to double check those things. And with also important to teach our students, if we're teaching them how to generate, well, then we need to teach them how to also check things, where to go, what to do as well, because it happens more than people think. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people just don't check it. And so they don't know. Yeah. So teachers, keep that in mind. This goes back to my saying, whenever I used to talk about YouTube, where I always said, please make sure you view the entire video. And then I would share this crazy little story about what happened with one of my classes and the teacher. Same thing with this. You need to verify and check everything, because it's not perfect. It is just a tool that does whatever you ask it to, but it's not going to always produce 100% perfection, accurate things.
Yeah. So speaking of vocabulary, I recommend, and what I do with whether I'm learning microbits and I want to go through, is just trying out each of the lessons is probably the best way to figure out what's out there. Why? Oops, I keep forgetting that I'm not showing my prompt box. So create an internet flashcard game. I have it set for language learning, Spanish language learning. Is that fine, or do you have another topic you?
No, Spanish is great.
Okay. Do you speak Spanish?
Very little.
Okay.
But I always like to learn.
Yeah. And I keep talking about the learning sciences. I've been listening to it as I'm walking my dog lately. But flashcards, a lot of times students are doing flashcards incorrectly, because if you just go, yeah, I know that, and then you turn the card over, you're not actually doing flashcard work. So the nice thing about the flashcards here, as you'll see, is they'll turn over, but these ones, I don't think these ones score whether you get it right or wrong. It's just the term and then you turn it over. You could have it however you want it. But with flashcards, you have to give your mind time to come up with the term. Like, do you actually know it before you flip it over? I think that's the problem with students using flashcards. Yeah, I know that one. I know that one. I know that one. It shouldn't be as fast as, yeah. And
I agree. That's why I always like to do flashcards in pairs, because then that partner would kind of hold them responsible for saying something before it got flipped over. So
awesome. So if you're doing flashcards correctly, you would look hello and okay, that's hola, and then I flip it.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of cool. At first I didn't like this. I'm like, well, I want it to tell me if I'm right or wrong, but there are different ways. Buenos dias. Buenos, see? Oh, I should have said I got it wrong. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Awesome.
yeah.
Adios. Great. Now that was only a few terms.
Right.
But I can't emphasize enough how you get this science curriculum, for example, and for every single unit, there are so many words. Like I look at grade 2 and they're expected to know about transparency and reflection and absorption and malleability in natural or processed materials. That's just the words on my grade 2 science matter. That's the first unit in grade 2. Well, have you met human grade 2 children? I was in a grade 2 class yesterday, and the reading those children were doing was like, Gus has a dog. The dog is, that's the level that they're reading at. And yet these vocabulary words are intense. So it's it speaks to a little bit of the mismatch between age level and cognitive level and where the curriculum is, and people who are educators knowing like this is way above where it should be. Okay.
Right. But you know, tools like this do help, and you create it once in a format that you like, and then you could simply just recreate it with new vocabulary words very quickly and easily. And I will say I have taught first, second, and third grade, and the vocabulary words were always such a huge thing. And using something like this, where not only maybe are you going to have words and what they mean, you can also bring in maybe possibly emojis or other things like that. That was really huge when I was teaching vocabulary. So you could absolutely modify that to include more of those pieces. So having tools to reinforce this would be really super powerful, especially with younger students, especially if you can make something like this where they can do it independently or with a partner or a small group. Things like this would be very, very helpful, because then you could do something like a station rotation, right? And while you're working with a small group, another group could be reinforcing their vocabulary utilizing different tools like this.
Absolutely. And this is an important point. Anyone you share this with can access the data in that connected sheet, even if it's not shown. So just remember, if you're sharing, that's where when Katie says her favorite is the template, you're wanting to share the template.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. Takes up space and has weight. Boom.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was quick. That was so quick.
Yeah. So again, you could be putting your own terms in here, and I highly recommend that you do that. And I kind of do like that you have to do some self-assessment. Like, do I know what that is? And that is the important part of flashcards. Gives you that time to think and time to retrieve.
Absolutely.
So should we try a few more of these?
Yes.
Countdown timer. I don't think we need this. I think Katie needs a digital birthday card. I don't know when your birthday is, but again, going back to interactive categorization. Oh, this is pretty good. Mammals, reptiles, amphibians. With all that vocabulary, and like you said, you like different things. Interactive textbook. A little quiz maybe they can give themselves. Flashcards. Here's a categorization game. And as you're doing these things, they're kind of going up on the HOTS, right? You're getting some higher order thinking, or maybe you use the depth of knowledge more, where in the States, I know they use Webb's depth of knowledge. Well, level 1, level 2, level 3. And you can differentiate here. Maybe you could even add in your prompt. Maybe you want to make one version that's depth of knowledge 1, depth of knowledge 2. So you could even make different DOK versions of these quizzes and interactives so that you're actually getting different levels. And maybe some students are at depth of knowledge 1 or lower level HOTS.
Well, and I'm so glad you mentioned that because I've actually done that before with creating things like this. Especially kind of just going back to, I'm a really big station rotation kind of teacher, so I can have some small group time and creating and knowing what my groups need. So like maybe one group I have is really on that level 1 kind of area, but then I have a group that's all the way at like level 2 or 3, and I could take it, create it for a level 1, create it for a level 2 or a 3, and really customize that. And that is so powerful because then you're getting the information and collecting that data of where they're at to see how they're doing. Do they need to be challenged? They do need a little bit of reteaching. So I absolutely love that you can do that quickly and easily, and you're not spending hours making 3 different versions of a very similar piece of work.
Look at that. It's got a progress bar. It's got all these great things. Oh, man.
I love it. I love the little emojis with it.
Now, should I try something I've never done before? I don't know if it'll do it, and we might fail.
Let's do it.
Could it turn this into printable cards?
Ooh. Let's see.
Because, I mean, you might have a teacher who's like, yeah, but I get Chromebooks once a day, and I'm already doing my UFly my literacy stuff during that time.
Yeah.
So maybe these exact same things, the flashcards and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, let's see. I always like to try something new, Darren, so I'm up for it.
I did make with one of the other tools, a flashcard generator where you put any terms and the definition and it'll print them out, or then you can use that in another game. But I haven't done it with this, and I just want to see if it'll work.
Yeah, let's see.
If it doesn't, we'll just cut this section out of our YouTube. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, look, it gives instructions for teachers.
Nice. Amazing. I wonder if I should have gone to a web page maybe instead of when I share it. Using design. Will this work as a website? Double click to interact. Publish website. I'm not sure. I've never done this before. I'm just curious if it'll actually give me a printed PDF of it.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sure you could get it so that it does that.
Interesting.
But I'm willing to fail in front of you, Katie.
Well, all teachers are in front of any student, and I feel like that's okay. And I have definitely done that my fair share of times, and that's where I learn and my students learn together because we're like, okay, so this didn't work, but what can we do to try to make it work next time, right? And then that's a powerful conversation in itself.
Yeah. And these are pretty nice. And I mean, I had a student once say to the grade 4 teacher when I was in grade 5, like, I can't wait for Mr. Malte's class because they don't even use pencils. I'm like, that is not okay. That's not true. But also, I love doing things with songs and with mnemonics and with gestures and printing these out and then having a student go, okay, one animal and I, and doing a heads up game or all kinds of flashcard activities like this. Great, more powerful learning. And I think we have time for it because we have so much vocabulary to get the students to learn and do.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm going to do one more.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm not sure at all. Interactive vocabulary matching game. And the nice thing about Canva is everything just looks really good right out of at the gate. I know with some of the other tools, when you do them, you're like, okay, well, that's great. You did it, but it is so ugly. I've had to say, okay, can you research design and games and how they should look and play, and then have it create these games with me. And I'm sure hoping as people are watching that they're just trying these different things, looking at their content, going, okay, well, we're doing this next week. We're studying that. And depending on the grade level, you can, that's the beautiful thing. Maybe in elementary, you're the one doing the work here and creating these things with your grade level team. And maybe in junior high and high school, students can just make their own things that are age appropriate, that are like, it's like your own study guide, your own practice you're doing.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's so true. And I will tell you, I've had students who when I taught them in lower elementary, come back to me years later and like, oh, I'm still doing that. And I used this, or I took that idea and created this. And it definitely exists and happens.
Okay, let's go parallel lines. Never intersect. Cute. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
and I see.
I meant to click diameter. Perimeter is what I was trying to do. Jeez, don't watch. I'm trying to multitask. It's okay. Vertex. All right.
Hey, I mean, we need to see what it's like when you don't select the right one.
Yeah, I was doing that just to test.
Exactly, exactly. I know you were.
Okay. All right. I'm getting there. Yay. I mean, if I'm being honest, I was looking at Khan Academy yesterday. I'm like, I think I need to do the grade 8 one because it's talking about infinite decimals and how to convert them into fractions. I'm like, ooh, that would be tough.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, I love this. Need a hint too. So this
I like
game
it.
works pretty well. It's a little matching game, and maybe you don't like how it works, or maybe you're thinking, well, I'm on an interactive board in my room. Maybe I want it where it's a drag and drop. That's touch. So that would be another way to do it. One of the other ones that's here just is a 3D game exploring space, which
Ooh.
I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to launch it and then I'm going to maybe you coding.
It's still thinking. Oh, there we go.
It's like, slow down. Even the AI is like, can you slow down? Yeah. So there's Spanish vocabulary. There's the matching game. There's symbols and terms. I didn't do one of these memory games. And maybe one of the reasons being, like, I don't think a memory game is super high level. I mean, I guess it's something that you could do with vocabulary, but it's, if you're looking for depth of knowledge, you're not going to get it from a memory game, right?
Right.
But yeah. Oh, sorry. Am I presenting? I was just busy playing my. And so here is that solar system that it coded.
Wow.
But here's the thing. When it first coded it, it gave me 3 planets. And that was fine. But I said, oh, can you do all the planets? And then it's like, great, you have a thing where it's clickable. And I wonder if I can find that conversation where it created this. See y'all. Oh, they're over here. Oh, this one is really cool as I'm looking through. Ethan Mollick, who's a great AI writer, he talks about the way he tests every new iteration of AI. Like, we just got Gemini 3.0 and we got new things in Canva. He asks it to code a futuristic starship control panel and design it. So he gives this exact same prompt to every single AI. And Canva actually gave me a pretty cool spaceship heads-up display. I thought, this is actually pretty neat.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah, that's how he tests his AI.
Interesting.
I love this see all. I love that you can go back through and you can look at what was the thing, interactive map, identifying bias, all these cool little activities that I created in the past. This month, today.
Nice.
Maybe you want a Freyer model instead. Ooh, with examples and non-examples. More, anything that you think of. That's what's great. Anything you think of that students could do analog, you could describe it, put it in there, and it should be able to create those things.
Nice.
Amazing. And this is, you should, oh yeah, these are connected, right? So a drag and drop of a Freyer model. Oh, so cool. But what I did have a point, Katie, and the point was, if I have my old solar system, don't laugh at me. I don't know if I have the solar system. Is this? Oh yeah. You'll notice this is a longer conversation because it said, great, I'll put that in. But it didn't do anything. Clicking on the planets, nothing happened. And then it goes, oh, I fixed the issue. Nope, it doesn't pause either. So my conversation here wasn't just a one-time thing and it just made the perfect thing. I had to go through and say, that doesn't work. Pause works. Clicking, like my prompts back then were, this is still not working. This is still not working. Clicking on the side, but not the others. And it eventually, in version 7, got to that version that actually worked properly. So it did take some time.
Yeah. It sometimes does that. And sometimes we have to be a little patient.
Yeah. And just tell it, like, this is happening. But it was able to eventually add these things and it was
awesome.
solar system.
That's really neat.
I guess I didn't do all the plants. I made it clickable. Yeah. Super, super fun. And just cool
Absolutely.
that I can just put that in my slides
Hmm.
and make a
I love
quiz
that.
and make flashcards and all these other things.
Yeah. And it doesn't take that long.
No, not at all. Now, beginning of the year, I know a lot of teachers are doing some kind of geography work. They might be having students learn about provinces. They might have them learning about states. They might have them learning about all these sort of things. And the only thing I'll say, well, I'll say a lot because that's me. But if you are doing actual geography things, it will be able to pull in a map. So this is cool. I coded this in Canva. It pulled in a map from OpenStreetMap, and you could say, pull it in from OpenStreetMap. But if you were to try this at home, the shapes of these, whether they were states or provinces and territories or countries, or maybe it was something about Italian city-states in the Renaissance, or maybe it was, the Roman Empire or a map of World War II, any of those things, it won't make the map properly, just so you know. But what it's very good at is it can actually take files that are called GeoJSON files from other places and use those maps. So I made a map of Canada, and then I referenced it. I said, use this map. And it was able now to do all these sort of things. So I just don't want people saying, well, it doesn't know how to make maps. You just have to know that it needs actual real data for some of these things, like if it's going to draw a shape. Otherwise, you will get something super wonky. But you can always contact me if you're interested in making something geography-wise, because there are world maps and there's all kinds of other cool things that I've created. And you can just use the files I've made to make other cool things.
I always use Darren's resources. I'm not going to lie. To this day, I have like a whole list of your resources that I use regularly.
I'm super excited about just all the geography things I have now. If you want to learn all this, maybe you know all the states because you're American, but if you want to learn them all, I have 3 different games for the world and Canada and the States. I have one where you label them, one where you click on them, one where it's a quiz, one where you, one that I like that I found online and I made a version of is this geo tracker where it puts you in a country and then you have to get to another country by clicking which countries are next to it by knowing the names. That one was super fun.
Nice. Awesome.
So it can do geography things. So if you're doing a geography worksheet and you're like, oh, I wish this was a little bit more interactive, a little bit better, and I wish I got some data, you can do those things, which is fantastic. Where are we? Okay. Phew.
We're starting our wrap up here, Darren.
Are you wishing you could pause me? No, I think we're actually doing great. One thing that I made, speaking of AI and AI literacy, was a bias detector. And I think, is this live? Yeah, it does. Okay, so this was an idea I had for just finding bias in text. And it actually did a very good job of this. So if you're trying to get students to start, finding what does bias mean in news, in articles, and all those sort of things, it generated these 2 passages. So if you look at a neutral passage where it's just giving you factual information versus a biased passage where you have to find, let's look for some of these things. The city council rammed through a controversial housing development despite fierce opposition. So having students find those heated kind of words, those words that are, I don't know, is fierce opposition biased? I mean, they're sure. Concerned residents, massive development. So all these terms. Now, I made this for detecting bias, but you could very easily make this a verb finder, or make it, they're finding the verbs and the adjectives and anything else that you want, clicking on different things for whatever thing. Or maybe you're wanting to find, I don't know, what are some other ideas, Katie? I was thinking like parts of speech.
Right. Identifying different parts, or even just identifying, maybe it's a passage and you want to identify like main idea, details, different things like that within a passage, depending on what you're working on.
Exactly. Yeah. And I did start making a bias checker where you can copy and paste actual information and actual articles in here, and it will create this bias checker. But what I think is really fascinating about this and what makes it a good lesson just on its own, I wonder if I have article bias checker tool. So my first prompt was, please create a bias checker that allows users to paste in articles and evaluate the bias.
Mm-hmm.
And the first iteration of that, I then had a different AI create an extremely biased piece of text about something, and I pasted it in, and it gave me a 0. Nope, there's no bias whatsoever. So then I pasted it into the chat here in Canva, and it said, this violates our policies. So I'm like, you see? And I just told it, like, look, this text is actually very, very biased. And then it goes, oh, okay. So point being, if as a class, you research and you go, okay, well, what makes something biased, for example? And they go, well, if you have like opinion words and then you as a class come up with the prompt that you're going to feed into this, the creation of this bias checker is the actual lesson. Like the end product, like whatever, a bias checker, those exist. Some of them are paid. But creating the prompt together as a class is the thing where you can come up with these things. Okay, guys, go and research. I want you to find, as many different types of bias. And if you can find an example so you actually understand them, maybe you want to have students find just one and figure out what that is and then give that to you for your prompt. So as a class, you're framing this. And that could be for anything. Maybe it's for back to the quizzes we did. Maybe you want the students each to come up with one question that they're going to give you that you're putting in as what you're doing. Then the AI is not doing the work. It's not just finding all the things. Then the humans are doing all the work, and that process itself is the learning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. Because as I was creating one of those geo games for countries of the world, I kind of accidentally learned all the countries of the world because it was, how come you're never, like Angola was never showing up properly in the map, and I had to, search and learn all these names. And creating the game, I now know most of the countries of the world. I still need to practice Africa a little bit because there's 54 countries there, but I'm pretty good now. I'm like, I can Malaysia, Philippines, I can go to Asia and I can find Bahrain, and I can find Qatar, and
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's not always about the AI doing everything for you. It's about that whole process of being a thinker, using the tools to create the thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And in the end, I took that extreme article, then I had it mimic different newspapers that are known for where they are on the spectrum. And then I had it actually start scoring. And the end result by version 4, it did a pretty good job of me being able to go to the internet, to a website, pasting an article in, and it coming up with the instances. And maybe you want to say, and actually be specific, show me the sentences that actually are biased. And I talk about bias because we were doing this for Media Literacy Week, but it could really be for anything where you're creating like the questions or which terms are important and going through, and they have to find the science terms you're going to use. So all that, the process is always more important. And I found that with every tech project I've ever done, I had a student, what was there used to be a tool where you make these interactive presentations. It wasn't Prezi, but it was similar. And the end result was actually really terrible. But then I had that student, I'm like, okay, well, can you just explain the concepts of democracy to me? And Mr. Malty, there are 4 pillars of democracy. And just that student knew everything about that concept. So the creation of that product was the real important thing.
Right. Exactly. That's amazing.
I did make a word counter too. So I have said 10,342 words in this hour, just if anyone's wondering. And Logic does pay me by the word, so that's why it's
amazing.
Yeah. So that was a lot, but truly, I just went through, if you want to think about it, just went through the templates that are there, the biology quiz, and each of the types of things they have there. And then it's just whatever you can imagine, I think it can create. The data you can link instantly, which is incredible. There's just so much you can do.
Absolutely. For sure. And just circling back around to a few things we mentioned in the beginning before we wrap up, I want to mention
Mhm.
I just dropped in the chat for you that certificate, the AI skilling certificate that you absolutely now, after being with us this entire hour watching this, please go grab that link and fill it out and get yourself your AI skilling certificate. And I also shared our feedback form. If you can give us a little bit of feedback, we'd appreciate that. And most importantly, the last link I just dropped in there was the link to more free PD and classroom workshops. With CS Ed Week, Hour of AI coming up, we have a whole nother day of PD we're offering for free, and we have 2 weeks of classroom activities. And hint, hint, Darren will be teaching some of those. And doing some great things with you and your students. So go to that last link that I put up there and sign up. Remember, it's free. And if it's at a time that maybe doesn't work for you, know that it will always be available and you can watch it after as a recording and do it with your students and pause and do the work along the way. So make sure you're joining us for those different events because there are some great student workshops coming up with Darren and other amazing presenters. And thank you, Darren, so much. This was
Yeah.
absolutely great. I learned so much and I can't wait to go dive in and try these new features and Canva and just get creative.
Thanks, Katie. You're amazing.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.